Yes, my people, welcome back to the channel, the Pitch Perfect one. Man United won, Arsenal won, and I don't even know what word to use to sum up the performance, what word to use to sum up the game in general. My prediction, if you were watching the watch along, or for those of you who didn't get to see the watch along, I had it as a score draw. So seeing the game result in a draw, not a surprise to me at all. I was expecting that. In all honesty, I felt like we performed better than I expected in the sense that I felt like Arsenal we're gonna have free flowing football. We're gonna be threatening, on the break, threatening in set pieces, threatening in attack. But they were toothless. We looked comfortable. I felt our defense looked comfortable all game long. Yes, we did have a few scares here and there, but I don't think at any point did I sit on the edge of my seat worrying that Arsenal were going to score. I was even saying on the watch along that I didn't see where Arsenal were going to get the goal from. You know, they had Marino, up front, and with him dropping deep, dropping down, almost kind of like a false nine, playing kind of like a decoy striker. It did overload it did overload our midfield because we only had Bruno and Casemiro in midfield. And you already know with Bruno, unfortunately, he lacks the discipline to stay in position, to stay on check. So more time, we did see a lot of situations where Casemiro found himself on his own against Odegaard, Partey, and Rice, and Marino then as well, adding on to the Arsenal midfield. So we were getting overrun a lot in midfield. I felt I was not happy with that, and I was crying for it throughout the whole game for us to bring on the midfielder. I was crying for us all game to bring on Collier all game because we needed to shore up that midfield. We were getting overrun. Arsenal have probably physically the most powerful midfield in the league. Partey, Rice, they can run for days. Or the guy can run for days. So they can go against the best of the best. In world football, they're that midfield. They in terms of physicality and power. So to have just Casemiro and Bruno, playing against basically four midfielders. It was a 4v2 in that midfield, and midfield win games, but, fortunately for us, they didn't take advantage of that midfield advantage they had over us. But yeah, in general, like I said, our defense, I felt like we looked okay. Lindelof had a few shaky moments here and there, but he grew as the game went on. The league solid as always. Mazraoui, Ramadan is on, but he still looks flawless. He still looks the same. Even though he's dropped down the level a bit, but he still looks as good. So no complaints at all. Dallo was not bad, but there's still a lot left. There's still a lot left to desire from him. There's still a lot left to desire from him, honestly. Going forward, he doesn't offer much. Defensively, he was steady. Didn't really get beaten. But going forward, he's not offering enough to be a starting player in our team because he's a guaranteed starter because we have no options. He plays left wing back, right wing back, depending on the game, and he just doesn't offer enough on either side for me to sit down with confidence, and have him in my team. But this is the cards we're dealt with at the moment, so it's sad, but the game is the game. But yeah, Xerxes had a very difficult battle. He was isolated throughout much of the game. It seemed to me that Saliba and Gabriel had an easy game. Don't get me wrong, Xerxes had his moments. He came short holding up the ball, bringing others into play. But in the overall context of the game, yeah, it was a very hit and miss one for him. But that being said, Xerxes has been playing week in week out since our injuries. He's been playing week in week, and he looks leggy. He looks leggy, really leggy. Eriksen, I know people were going crazy for him starting, but I can understand why Eriksen was starting. Because of the game on Thursday against Sociedad. You need Eriksen to start to save Erasmus, to save Collier. Who you could use on Thursday. So it made sense. Eriksen, he offered a bit of cuteness. He offered a bit of ball retention here and there, but ultimately, in these kind of games, Eriksen's legs are gone. It's clear. We all know that Eriksen's legs are gone. And in these kind of games where you have to be physical, where you have to run an extra 2-3 kilometers, he's not good enough for it, unfortunately. So he did get caught lacking a lot you know. Um, and I was calling for it. I was calling for it even when we got the goal. Even when we got the lead. Good goal by Bruno. By the way, I should just put it out there. Good free kick. Raya should probably have done better. Should have positioned himself better. But good goal nonetheless. You go into the half a goal up against Arsenal at Old Trafford, and it's look it's all bright. We started the second half well. We started really bright. We were at them. And then we kind of slowed down a bit. We allowed them to have possession. The tempo was kind of on their side. But that being said, I was still confident. I still felt comfortable. Um, you know, all that time before they got the goal, I felt confident. But the main point I kept making on the watch along was that we needed changes. Both Ericsson and Xerxes were the two players I was calling out for. Not because they were shit, not because they were shit players, but just because they looked knackered. They just looked off their feet. And like I mentioned earlier, because of Arsenal's midfield, because of Merino in the false nine, kind of dropping deep, being an extra man for Arsenal in that midfield, they were overrunning us. They had that advantage, so we needed an extra midfielder. I was crying for Collier in to just steady the ship, to just hold it down a bit because we were getting overrun. They were like Odegaard was having too much space, too much free time for my liking. You know, Rice was having too much free time for my liking, and it happened. We got punished for it. And the one telling thing that I know that Amorim knew that he messed up was that he made those changes immediately after we conceded. So the result, I'm not saying we deserve to win, but you know we could have got away with a win. Is all I'm saying. So Amorim has to look at himself in that aspect of things. I know we don't have depth. I know we're light, but the changes were there to be made. The changes were there to be made. If you made them straight after the goal, they were made. They were there to be made. So it's just disappointing, to be honest. Really shitty feeling. But like I said, I expected a draw. I got a draw, so it's nothing new. Not a bad result. Don't get me wrong. Arsenal are still a very good team. So regardless of the injuries they have, they're still a very good team that can punish you at any time. I mean, they just came from Europe, scoring 7 against PSV. So, we couldn't take them lightly at all, irrespective of the fact that they've got injuries. But nonetheless, though, look, the game's over. It's a draw. We take a point. I'm not happy and I'm not mad at the same time, but we take a draw. And, hopefully we can just use this as a confidence against Sociedad on Thursday, because Sociedad, well, based off the game in Spain, they didn't look as good as I expected them to be. So if they come with that same momentum, that same form, I feel like we should have enough to beat them anyways. But nonetheless, though, people, that's me anyways. Thank you for watching the vid. I don't know when next I will be back. I probably should be back for a watch along again on Wednesday, Atletico and Real Madrid second leg, and then on Thursday I might do a match reaction. I don't know about a watch along, but I most likely will do a match reaction. But nonetheless, though, people, thank you for watching the vid. Peace.